I'm going to talk about the Immaculate Conception Catholic Church that is right across the street from Troy School. And the address for that church is 37 School Street in Troy, New Hampshire. And their cemetery is a mile or two away, right along the old railroad trail in Troy, New Hampshire. So what is strange about that cemetery is that apart from the rest of the graves is a grave site for a 2-month-old boy who died in 1913. And the grave is off by itself behind a brush pile in the back of the cemetery. And someone has leaned an old wooden cross that is about 3 feet tall against his gravestone and left 2 stuffed animals. One that is a dog with a Christmas hat on it, and the other is a teddy bear. And the gravestone says Paul Giroux, June 26, 1913, age 2 months. So as you can see, the gravesite is completely neglected by the cemetery caretakers. And even though it has several perimeter stones around it, they have allowed it to become overgrown with brush and covered with leaves. And then a few feet from it, the caretakers have designated a large brush pile. So I'm going to take a walk up to the regular part of the cemetery where you can see all the grave sites are well maintained. They are not covered with leaves or allowed to become overgrown with weeds. Yet for some reason, the gravesite of a 2-month-old boy has been neglected by the heartless filth that run this Catholic cemetery, as if they have no respect for a baby that died when he was 2 months old and has been buried on the outside of the cemetery apart from all the other graves. So at the beginning of June of 2016, I was walking along the old railroad trail in Troy, New Hampshire, and I decided to walk back up to Paul Giroux's gravesite, and this is what I saw. The Immaculate Conception Cemetery people had brought in a machine and pushed the brush pile off to the side and cleared a large space near Paul Giroux's gravesite. But as you could see, they have continued to ignore the little boy's gravesite, what looks to be on purpose, and they continue to allow it to become overgrown with weeds and in a state of neglect. Someone has come by and hung a flower up by it, but they have not managed the willpower and goodwill to weed the child's grave and prepare it like all the other graves in the cemetery. So they have cleared off this space that had been designated as the brush pile for however long. and they did this sometime between March and June of 2016. So maybe they are getting ready to bury more people over there in the neglected section of the cemetery. Or maybe a group of degenerates wanted to go up there for whatever reason and needed a place for their fat, subhuman asses to stand. So they cleared out this section of land by a 2-month-old boy's neglected gravesite, adorned with strange objects like 3-foot-tall wooden crosses and stuffed animals with Christmas hats on them, even though the child died in June.